in the view of the upcoming publication of the work programs of Horizon Europe, that is the next research innovation working framework program for research innovation that will be supporting our research and innovation for the coming 7 years in Europe and beyond. I would like to also to thank my colleagues. Anca Popa, Isabella Gervasio, that supported and prepared this webinar today, as for the past ones. And I myself, I'm Andrea Rubini, I'm the Director of Operation of Water Europe, and I'm in charge of the cooperation program of Water Europe. And that's the reason why I'm here today, trying to give you, as much as we can in terms of information about the upcoming work programs of Horizon Europe. And today, we'll focus on the Pillar 2 of Horizon Europe, and particularly on the Cluster 5, which is on climate, energy, and mobility. Where we are going to go through all the destinations of the work program, and this will take some time. And apart from this, we're going to also provide you some additional information, because this is Water Europe, why we are here. Water Europe is the voice and promoter of the water-related research and innovation in Europe. And of course, one of our missions is to support the water sector in its development. And we do also through providing our members and water sector stakeholders with information about the next funding in research and innovation. Some domestics concerning this webinar. We started, unfortunately, with 45 minutes delay because of another event at the European Parliament that was co-organized by Water Europe, and it will end at 5:45. During, across the events, your mics will be muted, so you cannot speak, but you are welcome to send your questions and comments via chat. You will receive, all participants will receive a link to download this presentation. And but be informed that we are making a much deeper analysis of the calls for proposals that will be published in the next work programs in one document that will be made available only to the participants of Water Knowledge Europe Spring Edition that will be held in the last week of March. But we'll go later on, on about the events. So what we have today, what's hot today. So Horizon Europe at a glance. Maybe that some of you already participated to the old webinar, so to the previous webinar, so they already knew some of what we consider news 1 week ago. But then we'll go through the Cluster 5. We spent our use, the time for the past 3 webinars on Cluster 6 because it was, quite bulky in terms of opportunity for the water sector. Cluster 5 is a bit less, but it is interesting as well. We are going to see the destinations and related water calls. We have a session of question and answer after each destination. And then there is some important news about the executive agencies of the European Commission, because we see, maybe that some of you already know, but we will see that a lot of change in the new executive agencies that will support and the Horizon Europe implementation for the next 7 years, and not only Horizon Europe. And then some information about Water Knowledge Europe Spring Edition 2021. So the scope of the meeting is introducing the Preparatory Europe Water Call for Proposal 2021 for this cluster, the Cluster 5, to support water sector stakeholder that wants to develop project proposals and want to create a consortium, present these novelties about the new packages of the European Commission executive agencies. Be aware that what we are presenting today is something that we extracted from the drafts of the work programs of the Pillar 2 Horizon Europe that are available at this time. but still could be subject to change before the official publication. This is the more or less the timeline that we are going to see, like a movie, up to the publication of the work programs of Horizon Europe. You see that the budget finally has been agreed by everybody. The strategic plan 2021-2024 is being finalized, while the main work programs are being drafted as well, and they should be published in April 2021. So so we have short time in front of us. And between the third and the fourth quarter of 2021, we're going to have also the first deadlines of the calls and an update of the work programs for the missions. Now, just to focus on what we are talking about. We are talking about Horizon Europe, Pillar 2, and today Cluster 5, Climate, Energy, and Mobility. The rationale of Horizon Europe is that we start from policy priorities. Just to give you an example about the European Green Deal. We have strategic plans for the strategic implementation of what we want to get through the policies. We have key strategic orientations. The Commission looks at expected impacts. The expected impacts generate the papers that are the basis of the work programs, which contains destinations, areas, and finally, the call for proposals. So Cluster 5. We've been using it to deal about the Cluster 6 for 3 webinars. So now the change is Cluster 5, Climate, Energy, and Mobility. So here we can see some keywords. And again, we find this twin green and digital transition and associate transformation. This is again the European Commission highlighting this twin effort for a greener and more digital Europe. And here in Cluster 5 is very much highlighted. So we need this acceleration in order to do what? To support the transformation of the economy, of the industry and society towards, climate neutrality. So Europe wants to become, a climate neutral continent. This of course requires what? To work on the greenhouse gas neutrality, on the energy and the mobility sectors. In all these sectors, water plays an important role. So this is in a nutshell, the aims of the Cluster 5 of the Pillar 2 of Horizon Europe. So we see that a transition to a climate neutral and resilient society. That includes, a number of aims. We need, to have a transport sector, an energy sector that becomes neutral vis-a-vis the climate. Energy supply should be more efficient, more competitive, more secure, more sustainable, and on top, cleaner. Accessibility to energy should be secured to all in a sustainable way. And mobility should become, as much as possible, environmental friendly. And last but not least, we need a climate neutral and sustainable mobility system for all the people and the goods, which requires an extremely high attention to what is the matter that mobility must become clean and climate neutral at the same time sustainable. So we have a number of destinations, and you have the destination 5, destination 1. So today it's I'm making mistakes about figures, and destination 1, which climate sciences and responses for the transformation towards climate neutrality. And this destination, the activities that in this destination wants to enable the transition to a climate and neutral, resilient society and economy. But through what? Through the knowledge of our planet and the capacity of preventing and predicting what will happen, I mean, to our planet, and a better understanding of the change that are necessary, behavioral change that are necessary, and what will be the action of our society to these changes. In Destination 1 of Cluster 5, we have 3 subsections, 3 areas, for a total of 17 topics, the course proposal, of which 15 research innovation action and 2 coordination and support actions. Tentative indicative budgets so far, but still need to be confirmed, is 135 million for this Destination 1 in 2021 and a bit more, 137 million euro for 2022. So what is the impact of Destination 1? So the impact is advancing the knowledge on Earth system science, which is important because the more we know, the more we can extend our knowledge of the planet, the better it will be in order to understand how we should work in order to adapt the climate change impact effect, how to better understand, I mean, the interaction between the climate and the ecosystems. The Destination 1 wants to strengthen the European research area on climate change. So you see, this is climate sciences, and at the same time, increasing the capacity of the systems really to provide knowledge that can be used by policymakers, practitioners, other stakeholders, and the citizens. So increasing the transparency, the capacity of being a robust information, and to keep it friendly in terms of practical usability. We have identified a list of water-related courses for Destination 1, of which we extracted, I mean, a few. The first one that we saw could be important for the water sector is the CS5 2021 D10107, and is improved economic methods for decision-making on climate and environmental policies. It's a research innovation action. It is a project which indicated budget for the topic is around 6 million euro. We have a number of expected outcomes, but what is important to see is that in the main features of this call, the call wants to take into account other relevant fields that for time, I mean, not being considered into research and innovation action on technology and on innovation, such as sociology, natural and political sciences, humanities, gender and intersectional studies, public health, and disaster risk reduction. This is, I mean, then it's a consequence of the next point to say we need to have, I mean, an innovative out-of-the-box approach that will be systemic and, once again, to think out of the silos. What it is evident in this call is that the Commission recommends the project to do what? I mean, to identify approaches and practice for policy design and evaluation for climate and environment. So I'm saying that's a practical recommendation, field-based recommendation. The next call that looks interesting, looks really very much interesting, it is a research innovation action again for 20 million euro for the budget, is the D10108, which is the restoration of natural wetlands, peatlands, and floodplains as a strategy for fast mitigation benefits, pathways, trees-off, and cone benefits. So what is interesting in terms of this proposal is that projects that will be successful project will assess what is existing in terms of understanding the European wetlands and the current and potential capacity to have an impact on the emissions, on the GHG. and their capacity in the medium from the long term, capacity of mitigating through restoration and other measures. In different words, the project should identify the most promising existing wetlands, identifying the way to restore them, and to be able to develop models for which through these wetlands and floodplains, these areas can contribute to the reduction of GHG. You see that in the main feature, in the expected outcomes, for sure, what is important is the improved assessment of the added value of the wetlands, and the floodplains in this restoration approach. And what is can be visible, in the feature is that the Commission, the projects, wants to develop and identify real tools for a real sound estimation of the emissions, performance, as well as the impact on biodiversity and a wide range of ecosystem services through what? Through the restoration of wetlands, and floodplain. Destination 2, cross-sectoral solutions for the climate transition. This destination, it is very much focused on a limited number of targets. You see batteries, hydrogen, communities and cities, early stage breakthrough technology, as well as citizen engagement. It seems to be far away from water, but at the end of the day, we are still, again, in the area of climate, energy, and mobility application, where still water represents an important factor. Here we have 27 topics, of which 18 areas between 21 and 22, 2 innovation actions in 2022, and 6 coordination and support action in 2021 and 2022, plus another 1 different action that, if I'm not mistaken, is a pre-commercial procurement. Total budget for is still indicative budget for this destination. We have 229 billion euro in 2021 and 154.5 million euro for 2022. The impacts of destination 2. So on the one hand, a new world-class European research and innovation ecosystem on batteries. What we have now is not enough. We need a strong European effort in this direction. And of course, but at the same time, we have to look at what is the impact of this new innovation ecosystem on batteries on our climate challenges. Because the other point, the other impact is that it is about the efficiency of cities and communities in the utilization of resources and mobility. And this, as you can see, includes improved air and water quality. The other impacts is facilitating this transition towards a neutral climate neutral society with a better, more effective involvement and engagement of the citizens in the processes. Last but not least, is really in supporting this new emerging technology in order that can really reduce or have a high potential for reducing the emissions, the negative emissions in energy and transport. Here we have a list of water-related costs for destination 2, of which we identified the D20108, which is emerging technologies for a climate neutral Europe. And you see that in the main feature, the calls and the projects want to, the European Commission expect the projects to address a number of aspects. The lower environmental impact on climate change, on pollution, on biodiversity, a better resource efficiency, on what? On materials, geographical footprints, water, and other resources. Then what? Then the current commercial technologies. So new technologies that have a lower a lower and lower environmental impact. The second call from this destination 2, is this 0113, which is strengthening social sciences and humanities research communities in climate, energy, and mobility disciplines. Where, I mean, also here, water represents one of the cross-cutting factors in this. But this is a coordination and separate action. So it means that this project wants to make, for instance, if you can see in the main feature that is quite relevant, to develop this multidisciplinary approach and big networks in order to connect communities of researchers and practitioners and having them working on and collaborating on common challenges. Any question about these two destinations?
Not for now. No. No questions. No.
Okay, it means that we can go ahead with the next destinations, which is destination 3, sustainable, secure, and competitive energy supply. This is one of the main challenges in Europe, secure energy. As you know, Europe is not, a continent where energy is available as we wish, as we want, as we need. We need to import it, but we also need to think how to better secure the capacity of Europe to produce and be competitive in the energy supply. For this destination, we're going to have 58 calls. It's quite a substantial destination with 25 research and innovation actions between the 2 years, 29 innovation actions in 2 years, and 2 coordination separate actions in 2021, and another different kind of action in 2021 as well. We must be careful because here there is a change of plan in terms of opening of the calls, because the first calls should be open by mid-April, but then there will be a second opening in early September. That all is to be confirmed for now. But you see that also with the available money, available budget for the destination 3 is quite big. We have almost 600 million euro in 2021 and more than 600 million euro for 2022. Destination 3 has 3 main impacts. One is the fostering the leadership of Europe on in order to secure sustainable and renewable energy technologies. The other one is ensuring this cost-effective and affordable supply of energy to households and industries, having in mind, this high penetration of renewables and other new low-carbon energy supply, and the acceleration of carbon capture, utilization and storage of CO2 emissions, and through mitigation options in the generation of electricity and industrial application. Here we have also a list of calls, and you can see that there is a number of calls that should be open in April, another number of calls that should be open in September. It means that there will be a different deployment of the financial resources and also a different calendar concerning the submission of project proposals. Now, what is going to happen in April, and we selected as more important, is the D3-0117, that is support the activities of the ETIPS and technology areas of the set plan. And you see that what is it to highlight here, to develop and implement a robust outreach approach and societal engagement action, which is something that the European Commission highlights many times, because if you really want to address one or more of the sectors that are highlighted here, so carbon capture, storage and utilization, geothermal systems, hydropower, energy coming from ocean, bioenergy, the wind energy, or efficiency in the industrial sector or in the buildings, we really need societal engagement. That is not just, citizen engagement. It is the society, in a systemic approach that should be engaged in the actions. The other call that is likely to open in September is this African EU Water, Energy, Food Nexus, which is a very focused call about this eternal nexus between water, energy, and food. And it is, I think, self-explanatory. The proposal aimed at increasing the clean energy generation in the African energy systems, and whatever it is included in this call. However, focus on the nexus between these three pillars: water, energy, and food, that in Africa really represents one of the biggest challenges for the development of the continent. Destination 4, efficient, sustainable, and inclusive energy use. Well, self-explanatory as well. Once again, the focus is supporting what? The transition to climate neutrality, transition into zero pollution, a transition to the reduction of raw materials utilization, an approach that can help in using secondary raw materials instead of raw materials in the industrial processes and in other processes, and this in order to support the overall growth of Europe and creation of jobs. Here we have 18 goals, 3 in 2022 in research innovation action, 14, 50% innovation action between 21 and 22, 1 coordination and subtle action in 2022. Budgets, 103 billion in 2021, 138 million in 2022. Be aware that also here we might see we might find two different openings. The first one, as usual, mid-April. The second one, the rumors says about January 2022. But we'll keep you posted about this. So, destination 4, impacts. Basically, what? Achieve climate neutrality and the transition to the zero pollution for the building stock by 2050. On the other hand, destination 4 wants, a very ambitious impacts in order to reduce the greenhouse gases and pollutant emissions in the industry, increasing the energy efficiency. We have this core proposal that is advanced energy performance assessment and certification, that is an innovation action of 10 million euro budget, which TRL is between 6 and 7. And as you can see, this proposal calls for projects that should be able to develop new calculation methods able to address important life cycles performance aspects for the well-being, indoor air quality, acoustics, water consumption, wildlife carbon, and so on. But this pointing at what? At the better understanding, a sound understanding of energy and environmental performance in the early stage of the building life cycle. Question?
Yes, Andrea. If you can do a brief presentation of the stages of RIA, IA, and CSA in the RTL scale, especially where there will be room for taking all the research innovation into practice. I believe the Horizon Europe should give more opportunities for implementation within labs than the past Horizon program. But have difficulty seeing this in these presented calls.
I agree. I think that is a very good point. I think that generally speaking, we need to go for an increased efforts for the implementation of research and innovation results that we gained in the past Horizon 2020. Fully agree on this observation. Other questions?
No more questions.
Thank you. So let's go into destination 5 now, that is clean and competitive solutions for all transport modes. Well, once again, improve the climate and the environmental footprint. So it is still climate. Here we have 31 topics, which is, I mean, a good number for a destination. 16 equally divided between 2021 and 2022 concerning research innovation actions, 11 innovation actions between 21 and 22, and 4 coordination and support action in the next 2 years. Quite a good budget, 252.5 billion euro and 246.5 billion euro, respectively for 21 and year 2022. And destination 5, with a clean and competitive solution for transport modes, enter into number of impacts. Where, I mean, we have nurturing, I mean, a new-class research and innovation ecosystem on batteries, increase efficiency of cities and communities, concerning, I mean, the utilization of energy and mobility. This includes what? Improved air and water quality. Again, engaging and empowering citizens, and development of new technologies in order to reduce the zero greenhouse and negative emissions in energy and transport. Here we have a number of water-related calls for destination 5. We selected the D50115, which is development and demonstration of cost-affordable and adaptable retrofit solution for tailpipe and brake polluting emissions. And you might ask, I mean, what is, I mean, the connection to water? Because the proposal must assess the specific contribution in order to reduce the contribution of these bad guys that are nanoparticles, other particles coming from the tailpipe, from the tires and the brake particles, on air and water quality. So, and including the citizen science contribution. So, something that is taking into account is that how much of this commonly usable technologies can have an impact and on the health of our environment, and with a particular focus on air and water quality. This is a call where international cooperation is strongly encouraged. On destination 6, again, resilient transport and smart mobility service for passengers and goods. You see that is a destination that want to trigger safety, environmental, economic, and social benefits by reducing accidents, decreasing traffic congestions, reducing energy consumption and emissions of vehicles, and increasing the efficiency of transport operations. Here we have also a number of interesting number of calls. We have 14 research and innovation action 2021-22. 14 again for innovation action, but no coordination and support actions. 162 billion euro for 2021 and 209 billion euro for 2022. Please consider that all these figures are still to be confirmed. Destination 6 has a number of impacts. So the acceleration of implementation of innovative, connected, and automated mobility technologies and systems, both for the passengers and the goods, developing this multimodal transport system to sustainable urban freight transport and logistics, and the decreasing of number of transport accident incidents and fatalities, and increase the resilience of transport systems. Well, I mean, also water is one of the factors that can support this mobility transition. And we can see in this call for proposal that is the climate resilient and environmental sustainable transport infrastructure with a focus on inland waterways, which means that inland waterways are infrastructures which are extremely vulnerable to climate change and other disruption made by human beings or by other natural reasons. But then we need, I mean, to make these systems that are made of water more resilient to climate change. So it means that our goal is to have these inland waterways smarter, greener, more sustainable, and more resilient to climate change. What is interesting of this call is that it is a call where there is an attention also to the, not only to technology, but also to the development of new governance models that can trigger cooperation between different actors. Is an innovation action, so the call expects me to produce from the projects tangible results. We have 18 million euro for this topic, and I think that it will be a good opportunity for connecting once again the impact on the environment by reducing pollution on soil and water through, I mean, an effective management, maintenance, and operational management of this very vulnerable and critical infrastructure. Questions?
No questions.
No question. So we can go ahead, I mean, about the updates that do not change, I mean, from the past webinars, but we're going to have, I mean, additional new information in the next ones concerning this miscellaneous updates, where you have, I mean, the Brexit. The Brexit, well, I mean, doesn't have any impact on the participation of UK universities, research institutes, or companies. So nothing changed, I mean, against Horizon 2020. The only area of Horizon Europe where UK can participate, it is the European Innovation Council Equity Fund. Be aware that call for proposal in 2021 will be one stage only. So it means that you cannot be, you are not supposed to prepare a short project proposal waiting for an approval or rejection from the Commission. It will be one shot only. The single reimbursement rate for that cost will be maintained for Horizon Europe as it was in Horizon 2020, which is a good news, and including, I mean, the flat rate of 25% for the not direct costs. And I mean, this cost reimbursement schema will be even more simplified. What is significant in terms of efforts, it is given by the matter that the central core technical section of the project proposals will be reduced from 70 to 45 pages for the research and innovation actions and 30 pages for coordination and support actions. This is important for two reasons. You have to write less, but it means that whether you write will be much more important, and even the smallest detail will be assessed by the evaluators. So from 70 to 40 pages means, I mean, that even a comma has its own importance. Is there any question about
yes, Andrea,
about this, about the updates?
About the updates. If you can say something more about the indirect costs.
The 25%.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean, the schema will be the same. I mean, as you remember, in Horizon 2020, project at the total eligible cost. If you look at to a budget of Horizon 2020, you see that we have a number of columns, but then at the end you have, I mean, the total cost of the project of the project. You have the total contribution by the Commission that might vary from 100 to 70%, depending on the kind of action and depending on the legal entity represented by the partners. And then, I mean, beyond the eligible cost, the European Commission recognized a single flat rate for not that cost that is up to 25%. It means that the European Commission provides 25% of additional contribution of the total eligible cost. I mean, if you have spent 100 euro and this 100 euro are recognized as total eligible cost in the project, they were in the budget, the Commission approved your financial report, it means that the European Commission will top up 25% on that.
There is also a question about the Brexit. You can partner lead a consortium?
Yes, they can. Nothing changed. They can be a partner. They can be a partner. They can lead a consortium as a coordinator.
Okay. No more questions.
Thank you. Then, I mean, the latest news about the agencies. Well, I mean, we have a kind of revolution. The European Commission published a few days ago the implementing decision, which you can find. You can go and by clicking here, I mean, clicking on this link. So we have a new package of 6 executive agencies for the period 2021-2027, and we can see that there are few agencies that didn't change, and this is basically the EACEA, the European Education and Culture Executive Agency. Doesn't change in terms of portfolio. We have the REA, the former REA, the Research European Agency that becomes the European Research Executive Agency, that might be called EREA, that will take care of the Pillar 1 of the Marie Curie actions, but at the same time will take care of what? Of the Pillar 2 of culture, creativity, and inclusive society of Horizon Europe, of the Pillar, of Pillar 2, Cluster 2, of the Cluster 3, Civil Security for Society, of the Cluster 6, Food, Bioeconomy, Natural Resources, Agriculture, and Environment, will be under the management, under the umbrella of the new REA. Then another transformation that's very much important is about the former INEA agency that will become the CINEA, the European Climate, Environment and Infrastructure Executive Agency, that will include, and you see that, the package on climate and environment by doing what? Having the control and the management of the Cluster 5 of Pillar 2, which is on climate, energy, and mobility. And this is an important shift because we have all the live programs that moves from the EASME to the new CINEA. And see that the live climate action, the live clean energy transition, the live environment, circular economy, and the just transition mechanism, the third pillar on renewable energy financing mechanism will be under the umbrella of the CINEA. Then the EASME will be focused on innovation support of small and medium enterprises and with also support to interregional innovation projects. And then we can see that there's a newborn. The newborn is the EHTEA, the EDEA, or the EDEA, that is the new agency called European Health and Digital Executive Agency. This is brand new. and will include in its portfolio the Horizon Europe Cluster 1 on health, the initiative of the European Union called EU for Health, the Food Chain Initiative, then also going back to Horizon Europe, Cluster 4 Digital Industry and Space Research, the CEF Digital that comes from INEA, and the Digital Europe program, which is, I mean, it's a program that is not connected to Horizon Europe, is not part of the budget of Horizon Europe. And what is interesting of this last new health and digital agency is that the lead parent of this agency is the DG Sante, and of course, DG Connect plays an important role along with DG RTD and other delegating DGs of the European Commission. About the dates, all the new agencies with a new portfolio, according to the implementing decision of the European Commission, will be working from April the 1st, 2021. So it's a matter of more or less a month. While the European Health and Digital Executive Agency, it is theoretically already working because its establishment date is the 16th of February 2021, even though it is written somewhere, I mean, this document, that unless and until it will be not completely autonomous, the DG Sante will work on behalf of this new digital health and digital agency. Any question?
Yes, Andrea. How do you rate the support to implementation when Cluster 6 is placed in IREA?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
How do you rate the support to implementation when Cluster 6 is placed in EREA?
In the SINEA, you mean? Because now, I mean, because the former INEA, I mean, wasn't so effective in providing support to that. You see, I mean, the European Commission made, I mean, a choice, putting together in one new agency all the climate and environmental challenges and topics. So I think this is, I mean, it's a good move. Of course, I think that for each and every important change, there will be time to be given in order to have this change be effective in the long run and put them in enough lubricant in order to have all these mechanisms working well.
Okay, no more questions.
No more questions. No. So let's have, I mean, a look of what is next. We did, I mean, up to now 4 webinars. The next webinars will be the upcoming one next week, next Wednesday, but from 4 to 5 will be on Pillar 2, Cluster 4, Digital Industry and Space, all destinations. Please attend this because there is a lot of important topics about water and industry. Then on March the 10th, we have the 6th webinar that will be on Cluster 3 and Cluster 2 of Pillar 2. And last webinar will be on March 12th, that will be focused on Cluster 1, Health. What is hot in terms of events, Water Knowledge Europe, Spring Edition 2021, that will include what? Water Knowledge Europe, the Spring Edition includes, I mean, the brokerage event. We are going to present, or rather, I mean, the European Commission is coming and will present the Horizon Europe, the Digital Europe program, the European Innovation Council program, and the LIFE program. So you can come, you can participate, you can present your project idea, you can organize B2B meetings, you can meet the European Commission officers, you can become part of consortia. When? On March the 23rd, Tuesday. Then if you have more, if you are more market oriented, on the 24th of March, the day after, we have another event, Water Market Europe, that will be focused on digital water and cybersecurity, We are going to have B2B meetings. We want to support the market uptake of solutions. So you can come and present your solutions to potential clients, or you can find a solution to your digital problems or cybersecurity problems on Wednesday, March the 24th. While on March the 26th, we're going to have an important water project Europe that will collect 8 well-known projects on water and the circular economy, where you can meet the leaders. It's a real important forum where projects and the European Commission will participate and discuss around water in the circular economy policy development. In order to access to these events, please register and send an email to Ms. Anka Popa, who is the events coordinator. Just an outlook of what happens up to 2018 concerning the water-related projects by funding program. We made an assessment based on the Cordis data, and we found a number of water-related projects funded by the European Commission through different funding lines that included the research and innovation actions, the CSAs, and the BBI, the bio-based industries. And you can see that concerning the research and innovation action, almost 75% of the project were participated by Water Europe members. Innovation actions, we reached 77% of projects participated by Water Europe members, and 66% in the CSAs, 62% in the BBI. To be very frank, most of these projects have been developed, through the participation to our events. But what is important to see that there is a clear success of our members, Water Europe members, in projects preparation of win-win projects and their related implementation. This is, just, the agenda of Water Knowledge Europe. So on the 23rd of March, you can see on the left the names of the speakers from the European Commission. We have also to update here because concerning the DG Connect, we are going to have 2 speakers presenting the opportunities for the water sectors coming from the Digital Europe program and from a new, extremely important initiative called Destination E, Destination Earth, which is an ambitious initiative of the Commission for the digital twin of our planet. Then we have the DG Environment, the ASME Life, that will become CINEA in a few weeks from now. Then we have the new European Innovation Council 21 program. And we have also participation of an evaluator that will provide you the point of view of an evaluator looking at project proposals submitted for the different calls. Water Knowledge Europe has, a fee that covers the participation to all the events. As you can see, it varies from 75 euros for Water Europe ambassadors up to 115 euros for non-members of Water Europe. If you participate to any or one of these webinars, you can enjoy 15% discount on the registration for any of the categories that you can see here. Is there any other question?
No more question.
Okay, so if there is no other question, we are perfectly on time concerning the implementation of this webinar. I would like to thank you all for your passions and your interest in Water Europe, in our activities. I hope to see you soon at Water Knowledge Europe at the end of March. I take also the opportunity for thanking my colleagues, Isabella Gervasio, Luca Bigiorgera, and Anka Popa for supporting the realization of this event. And see you next week for the next cluster, the cluster 4 that is extremely important for the water sector. So see you soon. Enjoy the evening and stay safe. Bye for now.